This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, their songwriting techniques, and occasionally getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. Welcome to episode 149. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Christian Lee Hutson. The singer-songwriter from Los Angeles recently released his gorgeous 4th studio record, entitled Quitters. In today's episode, we're speaking with Christian about how this record builds from his previous album, Beginners, collaborating with Phoebe and Conor Oberst, and how Elliot Smith influenced his music. Here we go. Our guest today is a songwriter from Los Angeles, California, who you might know from his solo work or from his work collaborating with artists like Boy Genius and Better Oblivion Community Center. Having released one of the best records of 2020 with the record Beginners, he recently released the gorgeous follow-up, which is entitled Quitters. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Christian Lee Hutson. Hello, how are we?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for your time today, Christian.
Oh, you cut out for 1 second. Thanks for having me. Sorry, we're dealing with the venue Wi-Fi here, but
that's all
I've
good.
got you now.
Beautiful. I know you just mentioned you are about to play a show in an hour or so. I believe you're currently on tour with Bright Eyes at the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
How's that all going?
Oh, it's been so fun. I mean, I love that band. I never got to see them play when I was a kid, but I always wanted to. I could just never get tickets. All their shows sold out before I could get tickets, and it's just cool to get to see them for the first time, like a million times in a row.
I imagine it's definitely making up for those previous times where you've missed out.
It definitely is. I mean, they've got a whole orchestra with them too, so it is a pretty wild stage setup. It's the most intense version of them probably to have seen.
That's incredible. I am a very big Bright Eyes fan myself. I won't make you go through. I might have a Bright Eyes tattoo on my person. I want to show you that. But for yourself, do you have a favorite record of theirs that kind of stands out?
I think I really like, I don't know. I like a bunch of them a lot. I like Lifted. I like the two. I love Digital Ash. I love I'm Wide Awake It's Morning. The record that came out first after I found out about them was Casadega, and I think that was not it's not a fan favorite usually of theirs, but it has probably my favorite Bright Eyes song on it is Classic Cars.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant song. That's like, we won't harp on too much about Bright Eyes, but yeah, that record, almost kind of what you're saying with them carrying an orchestra around with them now, that's probably their most maybe orchestral kind of album or studio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I love Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings play on that song, and I'm a huge Gil and Dave fan too.
That's right. Yeah, that is a very classic album. But we are here today to talk about your brand new record, which is out now, Quitters. Congratulations, firstly. This is a brilliant record.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Simon.
No, of course. Firstly, I wanted to touch on the title because your previous record, Beginners, came out in 2020, which was a fantastic record. For anyone who didn't catch that the first time around, we'll put the link to that record in the show notes of this podcast. But I'm kind of curious. You've gone from beginners to quitters with no middle ground. I guess where did the title for this one come from?
Well, we were joking that Beginners felt like my first record and Quitters will be my last record. So it's just, we just kind of thought it would be funny. I mean, there are several lyrics that mention quitting or, like things like that. And we had like a ton of different working titles for the album. And I don't know, it just felt like that would be the funniest and the most, felt like it shared a universe with a lot of the Beginners world, but in like the flip side of it. So, yeah.
Of course. I feel like the music for yourself and for anyone who might follow yourself on any form of social media is that there is, I'd say maybe like a touch of dark humor in a number of things that you do. I'm curious when you are, because Quitters, I think now with the explanation that you've given it does give that context to it in terms of it could be interpreted not as a joke, but that it also has that element for yourself. When you're looking at album titles, is there anything that you kind of look at and you're like, oh no, that's too jokey, or that's no one will get that, or that's too on the nose? Yeah.
You should have heard some of the problem with album titles usually I'm like, they're too jokey or not jokey enough. I think at one point Phoebe had wanted me to call it Christian Singles, which that was a big running joke for this record and my last record. And I was like, oh, it's a little too jokey. And then I'd come up with a bunch of other ones that were just like too serious. It's hard to strike the balance between being like too serious and too much of a like this is a novelty kind of record title.
Of course, the record itself is gorgeous. It's I feel that it kind of builds on that previous record. It builds on Beginners, and it's still very much quintessentially a Christian Lee Hutson record. But there's little flourishes. There's touches of, I think, maybe instrumentation that wasn't there previously. I know that Nate Walcott, I think from Bright Eyes, also plays on one or two tracks.
Yeah.
For you, was that a conscious kind of step of like wanting to build sonically on that previous record?
I think the biggest thing was, I mean, generally with this record and the last record is to keep it as simple as possible, to make sure that it sounds like people in a room playing music and not too like overcooked. So I think, the only difference, I guess, with this one is we wanted to make it sound even more just real and have like mistakes on it. I think we were all used to making records in the year 2022 where you can edit out any mistake in a computer really easily. So we intentionally chose to record it to tape so that we didn't, it was harder to correct mistakes. We all love like the replacements and that the spirit of that type of music where you just will have like something that it really bad. You'll just have like some mistakes, mixed really loud in the mix, and they're just like, we can't fix it or whatever. I don't know. We wanted to have some kind of some of the spirit of those records on it, and like Elliot Smith records, like a lot of his earlier records where they're also to tape and just very, as good as he is, you can hear like string noise and just things that are not so easily polished. But yeah.
100%. I think sometimes there's, it's terribly cliche, but sometimes there's perfection in the imperfection. As you said, like Elliot Smith, I think Damien Rice might be one in like the mid 2000s where it's just, you can hear the weird, odd noises or nuances in the background of those songs, and that's kind of what gives them the intimacy.
Totally. Yeah. It feels real and alive and like it's happening right now, not like in a controlled environment that feels sterile and, on a grid or whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The album, you mentioned Phoebe. The album was co-produced by Phoebe Bridges and Conor Oberst, who you're with at the moment with Bright Eyes. What was that experience like compared? I know Phoebe herself produced Beginners. What was the experience like this time around having co-producers as those two people?
It was fun. I mean, they are both really close friends of mine, so it didn't feel much different than just any other day that we would be hanging out. It just happened to be that those days we were, working on getting clean, good versions of some of my songs. But yeah, I mean, the thing about working with both of them is just knowing that you're with people who care about it and also happen to be like fantastic songwriters gives you a little bit of confidence to that your song deserves to exist in the world. If you're a person who might have any doubt about that, which I sometimes, will toil over something and be like, I don't know if this is good enough. So I think that having both of their support in that realm, and just like small production ideas, they're both kind of the type of producers like, let's put drums on this, not like this is the whole arrangement. They are very good at letting all the musicians sound like themselves and then just making sure we get a good take of it, which I personally love.
That sounds very cool. I think previously had been quoted saying that when you felt some kind of anxieties about some of the songwriting, that Conor helped in kind of calming those, or at least just helping you address them, as we just discussed.
For sure, there were definitely there were some things where there were definitely some things where I would be like, I don't know about this lyric or whatever, and be like, that's my fucking favorite lyric, whatever. It's just things where it'd be like, okay, like that is a good just a nice guide as I was editing things down or whatever, and helping me feel confident in what I was keeping and what I was ditching.
Yeah, of course. I guess the working relationship, I know you said that they're like friends and so it makes working with them easier. Do you find collaboration easy with everyone, or do you think that friendship helps? Because I know you've previously worked, I'm not sure if you can see behind me, there's a Better Oblivion Community Centre record, which you contributed to, I think 2 of the songs on there as well. Yeah, does that working relationship kind of come easily to you?
I think so. I mean, it is so much easier. I do collaborate with a lot of people, but it is so much easier when you're already friends and you have that trust there, because there's a type of vulnerability, I think, that comes to working with people, that you have to be comfortable sounding stupid or whatever, or having bad ideas, and that can sometimes be hard to access with new people, unless you just, sometimes you get on famously with someone the second you meet them, but I think that is kind of rare for me. So the things I definitely have the most fun collaborating with, or the people I have the most fun collaborating with, are just people where we would be hanging out regardless of whether or not we were working on a record or writing a song.
One of the tracks off this new record, Rubberneckers, you co-wrote with Australian Alex Leahy, who it's a brilliant track. And after discovering that Alex co-wrote the song with you, I could kind of hear both influences in the song, if that makes sense. It sounds both like a Christian song and an Alex song at the same time somehow. How did that kind of collaboration come about in terms of you and Alex meeting? But yeah, what was that experience like of working with her?
I met Alex. I love Alex. I met her at a Bon Iver listening party for whatever the last Bon Iver record was in LA. and she needed to ride home back to her Airbnb, and she hopped in, and we just became really fast friends. And early on in COVID, we had done a few Zoom writing sessions just to like kind of hang out, talk, and see if we could write a song. And Rubberneckers was one of the ones we did. We just kind of messed around with the music for a long time, and originally it had different lyrics to it. And then, I just kept, it was one of those things where sometimes when a melody is really catchy, you catch your thoughts all happening in the melody and the meter of the lyrics and the melody and the meter of the melody. Wow. It was really fun. I mean, she's just a friend, and I love her music as well. And it's another one of those instances of like, it being a good fit, because we would just, go hang out in a park or a bar or something. Anyway, so easy to sound stupid in front of her. And I feel like vice versa.
No, that's very fair. I think sometimes working relationships do work better with that kind of friendship foundation underneath it. Yeah. I'm curious how you kind of found the pandemic in terms of, well, I guess songwriting. I guess as you're following up Beginners, which was released in 2020. How did you find that whole kind of experience of, I guess, writing at home or working online, and whether that's something that you'd previously done before everything kind of shut down?
I had definitely never worked with anybody online or remotely, I don't think ever, unless it was like occasionally I'll like record remotely a guitar part for somebody. But I think having to do it during COVID was, I don't know. There were a couple of people that I wrote songs with on this record. My friend Al Minnie, who was the singer of this band Great Grandpa, and I became friends during the pandemic as well, and also did a bunch of just Zoom hanging out and writing sessions before we even met, actually, for the first time in person. And I don't know. It was weird, but also nice. I think like everyone else, we were all coming up with creative ways to like split up our time among the different areas of whatever space we lived in. So I'd be like, okay, afternoon, I need a little change of pace. I'm going to face my chair this way. And then that's like going to a whole other place. It was hard though. I mean, I retreated into reading books, a lot of books, and watching a lot of films and television to feel like I was reacting to something. Whereas I feel like in the past, generally I would write a lot when I'm on tour, when I feel like I'm experiencing a lot every day and meeting new people, seeing new faces, hearing new stories. So it was a little bit different. It was more challenging. I also felt like I had a lot less time to work on something than I wrote the songs for Beginners over the course of probably like 8 years. And but I think it ended up being good for me. It was definitely...
I have a secret. I wore the wrong foundation for years. Then I discovered Il Makiage. Their AI-powered quiz makes it so easy to find a perfect match. Customized for your unique skin tone, undertone, and coverage needs. With 600,000 5-star reviews and 50 shades of flawless natural coverage, this foundation is going viral for a reason. And with Try Before You Buy, you can try your full size at home for 14 days. Take the quiz at ilmakiage.com/quiz. That's ILMAKIAGE.com/quiz.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
an exciting process. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have made another record so soon.
That's very fair. I'm curious what you just mentioned in terms of, I guess, using other forms of media to kind of give you those experiences and I guess take your mind out of just what you were doing anyway. What single is it? It is, I think it's Strawberry Lemonade, and I could be wrong, so I'm very sorry in advance if I am. One of the songs touches on, I guess, people using nostalgia for the past and kind of just reusing that. Is it Strawberry Lemonade that is addressing that? Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
How did you
that song?
Sorry, you go.
I was gonna say with that song, it is like, I don't know, that nostalgia for, I don't know. There's a lot of, feels like every 3 years. I had a friend who was talking to me about, it's like every 2 or 3 years there's a new like Beatles documentary or box set or like a fucking Bob Dylan something, or like, I don't know. I just thought his perspective was kind of funny on the like boomer obsession with just repackaging their youth over and over and over again and selling it back to us. It's kind of a cynical look at it. That is true, but I don't know. I just thought I don't know. I really like to write lyrics that make me think, that I continue to think about after, that aren't making like a final statement about something, but that make me continue to think about something for long after, without taking a position on it necessarily. And that's one that I'm still thinking about. I'm like, if, like you don't see people necessarily really doing that for, there's not like a Pearl Jam box set every year. There's not like other decades and generations don't necessarily do the same thing. And it makes me wonder, just about what we value, why we value music. Do we value it because it's so familiar and we're just inundated with it? Or do we value it because it just is that good from the beginning? I don't know the answer, though.
It's a very interesting kind of thought process to consider, and I know, I think the song kind of addresses that, or at least has that idea very well. And I think it is, as I kind of touched on before, the record is gorgeous, and I think that I was trying to explain to someone recently. We were talking about your forthcoming record, and I mentioned that I had seen yourself play, I think it was 2019 when you supported Phoebe down here in Australia, and I was trying to explain like what you sounded like. I guess it's easy to make comparisons to artists, and I was saying how, if I had to give like a quick summary, that it would be the Elliot Smith of kind of 2020s. In terms of like the songwriting, the vocal delivery. I know that you're an Elliot Smith fan as well, and I know that you, I think, have a bit of a special spot for EXO, and I believe also Elliot Smith helped you get into music originally.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'm a huge Elliot fan, and we got to use actually the Mellotron that Nate used on this record to do. Since we were making it to tape, we had a limited amount of tracks and couldn't do like string arrangements. So we had borrowed this Mellotron from the head of my label that was used on a bunch of Elliot Smith stuff. And that was like our nice little way to keep it in vibe. I don't know. I'm a huge Elliot fan. That was definitely the first, that was my biggest like guitar teacher, him and like John Prine, and even though he's not a guitar player, like Randy Newman, like learning his piano parts on guitar, all of those things I think help shape the way that I play, at least in the way that I think about songs for the most part. I'm a huge fan. It is hard for me sometimes. I'm like, now I I'm aware of the glaring differences between me and Elliot. I don't think that he had very much of a sense of humor in his songs, and so it's very funny for me to. The comparison is funny to me now because I'm like, oh well, my songs are just like fucking dumbass has got to work in a little gut puncher in there. Can't just sing about the moon for 3.5 minutes or whatever it is. But yes, I'm a huge fan.
Do you remember, I guess as you're saying, he helped you kind of learn how to play guitar or these songs. Do you remember that first kind of initial thought of wanting to play guitar, wanting to write songs, and when you wrote your first kind of bit of music?
Totally. I mean, I was probably 13, 14 years old, maybe younger than that. It was like right around the time that I got a guitar that I started listening to Elliot. And definitely, you know, like I feel like for a lot of songwriters, at least that I know, maybe your whole life of writing songs is really just trying to learn other people's songs and figure out how to copy them in order to like figure out what they're doing or what trick can be mined from it. And then just slowly learning song structure or whatever and what the limits and boundaries are and how to, you know, just how to put something together. I definitely, the first couple things I probably wrote was just the simplest version of what I thought like an Elliot Smith song was. But I used to make all of these, like I had a Tascam 4-track recorder when I was in high school, middle school, high school. And I would collect like all the covers I had learned and songs that I had written, you know, that were just really just fragments of things at the time. And every few months or so, I would make a little album. And then I would pass it out to kids at school and stuff like that and do little kind of shitty hand-drawn artwork on it. But it was all just like trying to, you know, you imitate stuff like Elliot Smith or Bright Eyes or, I really liked this band Ockerville River when I was in high school. I still like that band a lot. But yeah, just kind of trying to imitate all these people that you listen to and see what, you know, what you how you build it.
Yeah, that's very cool. I wonder, have you had anyone contact you since with because I imagine that those are kind of like collector's items now, or like that they're has anyone come forth with the original Christian Lee Hutson?
Actually 2 days ago, a friend of mine from high school asked for my email address, and he sent me some. I'm too scared to listen to it, but he sent me, I guess, some songs that he found on his computer. You know, just like marked with my name. That I'm like, oh God, what is this going to be? I feel like I have a good memory for what. Because I'll even sometimes go back and steal something from when I was writing songs back then. Like I'll steal a melody or something that I'm like, oh, that actually was really cool. And now with like a little bit more musical knowledge under my belt, there's a cool way to do something with it. But yeah, I've occasionally I know some people out there have some of that stuff. It would be hilarious to hear more of it, and I would be mortified, I'm sure.
We won't try and solicit anyone to send anything through. We'll try and keep it as dormant as possible.
I mean, to each, you know, like I can't control it. Whoever can have whatever, it's all out. It all exists.
Christian, as we mentioned, you were here in 2019 with international touring back on the cards in Australia, and we're starting to see more US acts kind of come through. And with this new record, could we expect to see you in Australia at any point kind of soon or within the next year?
I hope so. I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, but that's definitely a part of the plan. I loved when I got to come down there and play shows with Phoebe, and I've been wanting to come back to that side of the world and do some things again. I have so many good friends that live there and play. Julia Jacqueline, who I also see is behind you, is a great pal of mine, and I am always wanting to get back over there. So I think that we're going to figure out how to make that happen when it makes sense.
Please. I know that there's a lot of people here that are excited to kind of see you come down and tour. I know you mentioned Julia Jacqueline. Where we're based in Adelaide is or South Australia is where I believe possibly your, or maybe Better Oblivion work wife, Emily Retsis, is from as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know several people from Adelaide, actually. Emily Retsis is from Adelaide. There's another great bass player who lives in Los Angeles, Anna Butters, who's from Adelaide. She played on my first record.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We're a small town, but we've got some things going for us.
You're pumping out bass players left and right. I know that.
Exactly. We've got. Yeah, we actually are. That's kind of weird, but. Christian, usually we'd ask, I guess, what they're currently listening to, if there's anything at the moment that's kind of taking your fancy on your record player, on your streaming service, whatever it may be.
Totally. I have been listening to a lot of Howdy. You know that band? They put out a record in the last year. It's HOVVDY. I've been listening to a lot of their new record. And they actually, one of the songwriters came last night to our show here in the States, and we played a Howdy cover. But I've been listening to that a lot. I've been listening to there's a band from Seattle called Drench Fries that just put out an EP last week, I believe, that I really have been enjoying in a kind of similar vein. Beyond that, I've been listening to like an embarrassing amount of pop country just to get some laughs in throughout the day.
Nothing wrong with pop country at all.
No, we just try to find the most ridiculous pop country song we can to put on in the van.
I know. I think previously you had covered, speaking of pop country, you'd covered Shania Twain with Julia Jacqueline.
Yeah.
For your, that was a fantastic cover.
Thank you. That was Julia's choice.
Not a bad choice at all. Christian, thank you very much for your time today. I do appreciate it. Congratulations again on Quitters. And thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me, Simon.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Christian Lee Hutson for his time. Quitters is out now, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to buy the record. We also want to give a huge shout out to Dave at Diamond Creative Services for helping out with today's interview. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Wednesday and Friday morning, and we now have a Patreon, which you can find within the show notes of this episode. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
Ah, the sizzle of McDonald's sausage. It's enough to make you crave your favorite breakfasts. Enough to head over to McDonald's. Enough to make you really wish this commercial were scratch and sniff.
And if you're a sausage person, now get 2 satisfyingly savory sausage McGriddles, sausage biscuits, or sausage burritos for just $3.33. Or mix and match. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.